Hi guys, this is Celeste from Sulcata Grove, and I wanted to make a little video giving an update about our mango trees and kind of what's blooming, what's holding fruit. It is like April 20th, maybe 21st, and this is our Namdok Mai tree. It has fruit on it. It flowered 3 times on the Namdok Mai part, so I just picked the first fruit today. And it has a few smaller fruit. There's a flower panicle up there, so it is flowering again. But most of this bloom down here is sunrise. So Craig grafted on a branch of sunrise, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago or something. And it is flowering, and I saw earlier it has like some little set fruit on it. So it'll be good. This will be the first time, if the fruit holds, that we'll get fruit off of this variety here. And then over here we have P22. This was the largest mango tree that we planted in our yard. It had a lot more fruit last year and the year before than it does this year. I think it only has a couple fruit on it this year. I really like this one when it's really ripe, but I'm hoping it'll flower again, so we'll see. This is our tiny little dwarf Hawaiian tree, and it got damaged really bad in the freeze, I think of 2021, and died back almost like to the graft, but just enough was left above the graft, so it's doing well. And it has one fruit on it from the first bloom, and it's flowering again. So hopefully we'll get some fruit on it this year. Okay, now that I look at the P22 from this side, it has like 6 or 7 fruit on it. This is lemon zest. This tree was planted, I think in 2012, and it is not a huge producer for us, but we also don't have many disease issues with it. It flowered, didn't set any fruit, and now it's flowering again, and there is some fruit set on it this time, but it's just tiny BB size fruit. Over here, this is cogshaw. This is a tree that Craig like top worked, and then the freeze came, and so it died back to above the graft, and so now it's cogshaw again. We don't really like this fruit. I'm not a fan, but it's edible if you eat them early, and it's one of the prettiest fruits in the yard. It gets really red when it's ripe. So we'll see what we end up doing with that tree. And then over here is pickering, and this one always sets a lot of fruit. Craig hasn't really pruned this tree at all. It was also planted around 2012, I think. Actually, I think we had one and something happened to it, like with the freeze, and we might have replanted this one around 2014, 2015. But we don't have to prune it at all. It stays pretty small. This is the tree sold as Elm Barbanishan in Florida. I think it's Amon Pasan, maybe. I don't really know. All I know is it's one of my favorite fruits, and that's all that really matters to me. It has flowered twice this year. It has a couple of BB-sized fruits on it. And then over here is Poe Puclay, or otherwise known as lemon meringue, and it flowered like January, only set like a couple of fruit. I think those might have fallen off, like I don't see any right now. I'm hoping it will reflower, but we will see. This is one of the more recent trees planted over here. It might have been planted like 2018. Try to zoom out so you can see the whole tree. And then over here is Valencia Pride. This is the first mango tree we ever bought. We were like really broke at the time, living in an apartment near Bradenton Beach, and we bought this tree at Walmart, and we planted it before we had like a kitchen sink when we were remodeling our house here. So this was the very first tree to go into the ground before we even moved into the house, and it flowered this year and set fruit and it also is flowering again. You can see up there some more flowers. So we're really excited. Craig did a hard prune on this, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and we haven't really gotten a lot of fruit off of it recently, so I'm excited that it looks like we'll get fruit this year. This is our sweetheart lychee, which is totally infested with the lychee Aranos mite right now. We have another one that had the mite, and we let it get really dry and it naturally will defoliate. We've had our lychee trees do that a few times, and then we can prune them back and they will flush back out. We've never lost a lychee tree so far doing that, but you have to time the rewatering really well as soon as it defoliates. This is M4. This one's always been a really heavy producer. It's a little tree, but it always produces a lot of fruit. And then this tree was dot, half of it's still dot, half of it is Quesar, and so all these fruits that are on it are Quesar fruits. Back here is Harvest Moon, and it's a decent amount of fruit this year. I don't see any second bloom. Oh, actually I do. There's more bloom on it right up there. That's a really good fruit. They get really big. It's a big fruit that actually tastes good. And this tree is Sugarloaf. I let my Sugarloafs flower like right after I put them in as 3 gallons, and so they're very stunted. This one in particular got hurt by the freeze in 21, but we'll see what it does. It has a good root system at this point, so hopefully it will be okay. And this is our coconut cream. My dad's coconut cream tree broke at the graft, like many other people's, which happens with coconut cream sometimes. I have heard people say that like it's graft incompatibility. Thankfully, we haven't had that issue with ours. It is the one tree that Craig will come and prune really heavily before a hurricane just to save the tree, so there's a lot of airflow that can go through the tree. But this flowered and set some fruit, but it has some new bloom on it, so hopefully we'll get even more. This is one of my favorite fruits. It's my daughter Courtney's favorite fruit. When she was down in college in Fort Myers, we would mail boxes of these to her, so that's why we haven't had a lot for sale. And this is our little honey kiss. It did flower. I removed all the flowers from it. I'm trying to get it to grow. It has been a very slow grower for us. And these are 2 mangoes that we planted way too close together. The one in front is Orange Sherbet, and the one in the back is Cac. And Cac has flower on it and fruit. And then there's lots of fruit on the Orange Sherbet. This is a high tunnel that Craig has been busy assembling. We used to have our 2 big oak trees here, but they uprooted in Hurricane Ian, sadly. That was like one of our favorite places in the yard, so now we're just doing something different with that spot. Over here is Pineapple Pleasure, which I have a bigger one in a pot. I think I'm going to dig up this tree. We're hoping to put a pond in back here, and this tree is kind of like blocking access if we bring in an excavator. So that one will probably get removed. Let's see, what is this tree? I'm trying to remember. It's not Beverly. Anyway, I don't remember what this tree is. Maybe I have a sign. Let's see. It's another like late one, but I don't really remember what it is. Anyway, I had a Chacanon back here that actually had fruit on it during Hurricane Milton, and it disappeared during the hurricane. So it broke off at the graft and we never found the tree. We had a direct hit from Milton, so stuff was kind of everywhere, and that's a tree we lost and never found. This is Valkyrie. This is one we bought as Beverly. It was mislabeled, which happens sometimes, but it's a great mango. It's a cross between Carrie and Valencia Pride. It flowered so much and set like a couple of fruit, but they fell off, and now it's reflowering again. So this is one that Craig came through and he removed all the flowers from to see if it would reflower, and it did. But there were also a couple trees that we didn't do that with that also reflowered, so not real sure why. This is the area where we're hoping to put in a pond. This is our sweet tart mango tree. It flowered and set some fruit, some are dropping. It's been really dry here, but this is one of my favorite fruits. But for us, it sets fruit twice every 2 years. So we don't get fruit from this tree every single year. And it's been that way for a decade now. This is Ice Cream. This is the other tree that Craig heavily pruned before the hurricane, but it's holding fruit and it has some new flower. Ice Cream is probably one of my favorite mangoes. It's just really like a complex flavor, and I really like them. I like them if you eat them before they're super soft. So when they're just a little bit soft, that's my favorite way to eat them. This is our peach cobbler tree. It is growing out of control. This is one that we invited a group over to demonstrate how Craig prunes the mango trees, and this is one that he heavily pruned. I think it was 2 years ago, and it's already out of control. It smells wonderful, and it flowered twice. This is the second bloom on it, and it set some fruit with the first bloom, and I assume it'll set a lot of fruit with the second. But it's a really aggressive grower. Like, to me, if I could get rid of one tree other than the Cogs Hall, it would be the peach cobbler. I'm just not a huge fan of the flavor of the tree, and I'd rather have something else there. But it's gonna stay for now. This tree is Super Alfonso. It set some fruit. I may come and like trim off some of the panicles without fruit on them and see if I can get it to flower one more time. But it's a good fruit. This is the other side of the sweet tart. This is my other sugarloaf tree. It has some fruit on it and a lot of other bloom. And then over here is fruit punch. I really like this fruit. It's pretty, it has red color, and it's a delicious fruit with some complexity. And behind it is cotton candy. This tree gets a lot of shade, but it still puts out a decent amount of fruit. It just doesn't grow really big, and I think it's just because where it's settled. It's under a carrotwood tree that shades it out, that's coming from the neighbor's yard. And so I have a couple more mango trees. This is Pina Colada, and it was completely uprooted in Hurricane Milton, and Craig and my daughter Brooke uprighted it. Even though it has 2 rootstocks on it, it's still uprooted. But I don't know if it's gonna flower this year. It looks like it just put out new growth. So probably no fruit on that one this year. This is Glen, probably my favorite mango. If I were to plant another mango, it might be this one. It's just like a mango. It tastes like classic mango, fiberless, delicious. One of my favorites. If I could only grow one mango tree, it would be a Glen. It's pretty disease resistant too, and it does really well. It's one of the few that flowered and fruited in 2021 when we were at 28 degrees in the middle of the night for 2 nights. But I think it was more the proximity than anything about this mango being cold hardy. There's a large live oak tree behind me, and then all the neighbors' trees are on the other side. So I think it was just in a protected spot. But it's held a decent amount of fruit this year. It's also flowering again. So I'm excited that we'll have more of that. That's one of my favorite ones to freeze dry too. It's really good freeze dried. And Maha Chinook, I don't remember if we had fruit on this last year or not, It's one that Craig's been pruning heavily, and it has a decent amount of fruit on it right now. It looks like the second flush was just new growth and not flower. And then over here we have a Bombay. Bombay is the older variety, but I love the flavor of this one. Probably like another tree that we have that's similar in flavor would be ice cream. This one did flower, didn't set any fruit, but we'll just let it grow this year, and hopefully next year we'll get some fruit on it. I do want to come in. I'm so allergic to these trees that will break out if I like even brush up against it, or if it's raining and a drop falls from a leaf onto me, I'll completely break out. So I have to really wear long sleeves and gloves and everything to come and prune the tree, but I'll probably come back and prune a lot of this to get it to branch out more. But that is all the mango trees in the ground. Right now I have 5 or 6 other varieties in pots I'm planning to plant soon. We lost our Sessi Love tree in the ground. This is the second Sessi Love that we've lost. I don't know if the spot's bad, or I don't know. But it's one of our favorite mangoes, so I have another one in a pot, and hopefully it will do better than the last 2 I've done. So anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.